And welcome to another episode of True Sports, episode 36. I'm Taylor Phillips, and he's Louis Tenor. This is it. Well, just 4 days away from Super Bowl 57, Eagles and Chiefs. Want to make a quick note, though. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is close to 100%. His ankle is getting better.
Yes.
So, I
Good
man,
sign.
yeah. So, I I would think that I would I would definitely think that Patrick Mahomes can roll through this Eagles defense. It's going to be an offensive
Oh,
slugfest
absolutely,
between
absolutely. That's
between
what
the.
I was thinking that too. If you're thinking like it was going to be what it was with the Patriots with that defensive game back in whatever it was 2017, forget it. That's not going to happen. No
Yeah, the
way.
Patriots didn't even make it.
Yeah.
They did not even make it. That's man. The Patriots missed Tom Brady, but he retired after playing with Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers.
Right.
I still think the Eagles will win, but except by a close margin in an offensive
Yes.
slugfest.
Very. Yes. My thoughts exactly. This is not going to be a defensive style game. Both have tremendous offenses, but I think when you have Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes on that offense together, I think it's going to be a very high offensive scoring type like game. If I'm lying, I'm dying.
Well, there's no doubt. I don't think you're lying because both
Yeah,
offenses are out there on the field as of right
right.
now.
Yeah, but of course, the majority of critics and fans that I've spoken with, they're all saying the Eagles. Yeah,
Right, because they have rolled over their last two opponents, not only
right.
the New York Giants, but the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah,
Yeah, the 49ers suffered two quarterback injuries in one game, but that
yeah.
that doesn't explain that doesn't explain their struggles on the 49ers struggles on offense against Phil, Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Eagles
Oh,
defense did their job.
yes, they did.
They are a two-way team. So can they show it against the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 57 Sunday 6:25 on Fox?
Well, the Eagles, put a number on the 49ers. Maybe the Chiefs will find out, the Chiefs are going to find a way to stop that defense. I think maybe they might just run a little bit out of gas, just a little.
All right. Well, it while we turn it over to our True Sports Report, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this banner on here. So go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So we'll start with actually we're going to start with men's college basketball tonight because I got some scores here. There's a couple games in progress. Alabama is just ripping Florida apart, 92 to 62. Oh boy, game's out of reach. 14 Baylor is leading Oklahoma 77-68 with the minute 40 to go. It probably Baylor will win, but there's still a chance. Just getting underway. Utah State is leading. No, I'm sorry. San Diego State is leading Utah State 29-22. 6 minutes and change to go in the first quarter. All the rest of our finals. Number 23, Creighton beat up Seton Hall 75-62. Apologies to my nephew. Vanderbilt upset Tennessee 66-65. Tennessee is a decent basketball school, just a lousy football school. Moving right along. West Virginia upsets Iowa State 76-71. Houston all over Tulsa 80-42. And Providence over Georgetown 74-62. Over to the other hardwood for the NBA, it goes like this. Game is pretty much over as the Wolves being up on the Jazz 141-114 with 38 seconds to go. Pretty much over. At the half, the Mavericks lead the Clippers 60-52. Hold on a second. Okay. And just about 2 minutes to end the second quarter, the Blazers are leading the Warriors 61-60. All the rest are final as the Cavaliers beat up on the Pistons 113-85. Sorry. Eesh.
Yeah. It was another route. 113-85. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not
Harsh.
even bear to watch that game. I could not even bear to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. Wizards over the Hornets 118-104.
Dwayne freaking Casey, I tell you.
Yeah. Sixers Celtics over the Sixers 106-99. The
14
Heat
and
over
41.
the Heat and over the Pacers 116-111. The Raptors over the Spurs 112-98. And the Kings over the Rockets in a close one 130-128. Now that's a game. All right. So now we'll check the schedule for tomorrow. And it goes like this. Well, I'll be here in about 2 seconds. Luckily, my new computer isn't as slow as the other one. Okay. So for tomorrow, your 7 o'clock game is the Nuggets taking on the Magic. A pair of 7:30 games as the Suns take on the Hawks. The Bulls take on the Nets, and they need some help. That game was on TNT, and the Bucks will take on the Los Angeles Lakers at 10 o'clock, also on TNT. So we'll check the standings, and they go this way. Leading off in the East, the Celtics are 39-16, have a game and a half lead over the Bucks at 37-17. The Sixers 34-19, 4 games back. Cavaliers 35-22, 5 back. And that's where I watch out now. We're still decent, 32-22, but 6.5 back. The Heat are 30-25, 9 back. 9.5 back are the Knicks at 30-26. Not bad. Hawks 27-28, 12 back. The Bulls 28-28, 12.5 back. That's decent for them. And the Raptors are 26-30, 13.5 back. On the outside looking in, the Wizards are 26-29, 13.5 back. The Pacers 26-31, 14.5 back. The Tragic or Magic 22-33, 17 back. The Hornets 15-41, 24.5 back. And the Pistons are 14-42, 26, 25.5 back.
14 and 42.
Yep.
Wow, I thought they were 14 and 41. I'm
Nope.
a little behind.
They're even worse. Okay. To the West, the Nuggets are 38-17 and have a 4.5 game lead over the Grizzlies at 33-21. The Kings, the surprise team of the year, 31-23, 6.5 back. Well, I think that's a surprise. Clippers, 31-28, 8 back. Suns, 30-26, 8.5 back. The Mavericks, 29-26, 9 back. At 9.5 back are the Warriors at 28-28. The Pelicans are also 9.5 back, but they're 29-27. The Wolves are 29-28, 10 back, and the Jazz are 27-28, 11 back. So it's fairly close. The Thunder 26-20, 11.5 back, along with the Portland Trail Blazers. The Lakers 25-30, 13 back. Further down the list are the Spurs at 14-41, 24 back, and the Rockets are grounded at 13-42, 25 back. They don't have a prayer. Forget it.
So the Pistons are still a half game ahead of them, huh?
Yeah, but actually the Rockets are worse because they only have 13 wins,
That's what I
and the
mean.
Pistons have 14. Yeah, even though it's different conferences, but still pathetic. Ugh.
Yeah,
All
different
right.
conferences don't matter. It's the draft lottery.
Yeah, and when you suck, you suck.
But
Okay,
even
so
tanking won't help the Pistons because Dwayne Casey can't even coach this damn team.
no. A short night on the ice tonight, and both games are now over as the Rangers beat the Canucks 4-3. Okay, so not the same as 1994, but hey, a win's a win. And the Stars of the Wild 4-1. All right, so now we'll check tomorrow's schedule. Yeah, Wednesday's always a lighter night in the league anyway, so that's no surprise there. So for tomorrow's games, it goes like this. Your 7 o'clock games, there's quite a bunch of them. The Flames take on the Red Wings. The Sharks take on the Panthers. The Kraken take on the Devils. The Oilers take on the Flyers. The Avalanche take on the Lightning. 7:30, the Canucks take on the Islanders, and the Knights take on the Wild at 8. All right, so now we'll check the standings here, and it's getting pretty good. Now that we're past the All-Star game, now it's when people start paying attention to the standings, and of course, so do I. So in the Atlantic Conference, well, in the Atlantic Division, I should say, in the Eastern Conference, it starts this way. The Bruins, yeah, they're still hot. 39-7-5, 83 points. The Leafs are 31-13-8, 70 points. The Lightning are 32-16-2, 66 points. The Sabres, an improved team at 26-20-4, 56 points. Also 56 points for the Panthers at 25-22-6. The Senators, decent, 51 points at 24-23-3. Red Wings, 21-20-8, 50 points. And the Canadiens, 44 points at 20-27-4. To the Metropolitan Division, where I keep a close eye on things, it's fairly tight. The Hurricanes are 34-8-9-8, 76 points. The Devils, 33-13-4, 70 points. The Rangers at 66 points at 29-14-8. Capitals, 27-26 60 points. The Penguins have 59 points at 25-16-9. Islanders are also 59 points, but they're 27-22-6. 5, excuse me. Flyers, 21-22-9, 51 points. And the Blue Jackets, yeah, they're the Blue Jackets, all right. 34 points at 15-32-4. Wow. To the West. The Stars are 30-13-10, 70 points. The Jets are 65 points at 32-19-1. Avalanche are 27-18-4, 56 points. Also 56 points to the Wild at 27-19-4. The Yahoos, or some call them the Predators, 24-19-6, 54 points. The Blues, 49 points at 23-25-3. The Coyotes, 17-20-6, 40 points. And the Blackhawks are at 35 points at 15-29-5. To the Pacific, the Knights, 30-18-4, 64 points. The Kraken, only in its second year, 63 points at 29-16-5. Wow. Kings are also at 63 points at 28-18-7. Oilers are at 29-18-4, 62 points. The Flames, 24-17-10, 58 points. Canucks, 20-27-4, 44 points. The Sharks, 16-25-11, 43 points. And the Ducks, 17-29-6 at 40 points. Ah, dear. Well, and now with the second half of the season underway, they better get their act together. All right, so now we'll turn to the news items of the day. And it starts this way. All right, gotta clear all this junk off here. All right, breaking news happened 2 hours ago as the LA Lakers have agreed to land Timberwolves D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt. That also involves a deal with the Utah Jazz. In the trade, the Timberwolves received guards Mike Conley and Nickel Alexander Walker and draft picks. The Jazz received Russell Westbrook, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Daniel Jones, and a lightly protected 2027 pick from the Lakers. All players have been notified of the trade, including Westbrook, according to sources. Russell is averaging 17.9 points per game with 6.2 assists. After a shaky start to the season with the loss of Karl Anthony Towns, aka Cat, with a calf strain in November, he kept things steady with the ship and helped keep the Timberwolves in the mix of a competitive race in the middle of the Western Conference. So they're fighting there. The New Orleans Pelicans will be without forward Zion Williamson. Won't be back till after the All-Star break. The source confirmed that Zion will miss the final 3 games before the break. between the Cavaliers on Friday, the Thunder on Monday, and the Lakers next Wednesday. The source also confirmed that he'll miss the All-Star game, which is on the 19th of this month, 11 days from now. Williamson was voted as a starter despite only playing 29 games. He injured his hamstring in the January 2nd game against the Sixers after he injured his hamstring in the third quarter and has not played since then. Before the injury, he had 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4.6 assists per game. The Pelicans went on to lose 13 of the next 16 games with Zion and Brandon Ingram, who was out for a large part of Zion's absence, before winning the next 3 games. The Pelicans are 17-12 with Zion and Williamson in the lineup, but without them, only 12-15. Oof. Okay, speaking of Westbrook, Lakers guard Russell Westbrook and coach Darvin Ham had a brief but verbal exchange in the locker room during their halftime game against the Thunder last night. Ham expressed frustration with how Westbrook lingered on the floor after he was subbed out late in the second quarter. Voices were raised in the locker room, but discussion turned back to trying to win the game against the Thunder, which, however, turned into a loss by 3 points. Ham closed the game with Westbrook scoring 14 of his 27 points in the fourth quarter. Ham and Westbrook patched things up before leaving the arena, coming on the same night as history was being made in the league. I'll explain that in a minute, but I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay, to the ice for a minute. The New York Islanders' new addition Bo Hobart made his debut at last night's debut for the Islanders and scored his first goal and pulled up a 4-0 victory over the Canucks. Iowa Sorkin made 31 saves for his 5th shot of the year and his 15th overall in his career. Samuel Boddick, Simon Holmstrom, and former Devil Zach Parise also contributed to scoring. No, my girlfriend's going to hate that. After the goal by Hobart was scored, the fans went wild and started chanting his name. He could savor the moment as he sat on the bench, as was called by the public address announcer, as his name was called. It was just unbelievable, Hobart said in his post-game interview as he saluted the fans. The Islanders acquired Hobart in a blockbuster trade with the Canucks on January 30th. The All-Star center signed an 8-year deal worth $68 million on Sunday. That's nothing to sneeze at. Kyle Lowry has been ruled out of the Miami Heat's next 3 games with a left knee injury, but could last longer. Lowry is averaging 12 points per game and 5 assists, down from last season when the Heat center and the Eastern Conference, when they were number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. He will miss the next 3 games against the Pacers, the Rockets, and the Magic. He did not play against the Bucks on Saturday because the Heat said he felt his left knee being sore. The Heat said he'll be evaluated next week. They have 2 more games before the All-Star break. I think it's just what you deal with in a long season, said Coach Eric Spoelstra. There is going to be some unpredictable things. The encouraging thing is he does not need a procedure or anything like that. We just need to calm it down a bit more. Nothing else. This is the fewest assists Lowry has had in quite some time. In fact, since the 2009-2010 season, and the lowest scoring average since the 2012-13 season. The 6-time All-Star is in his second year of a 3-year, $85 million deal with Miami. Yeah. A look of happiness and relief went across the face of Devin Booker inside the locker room as the Suns beat the Nets last night and earned their 3rd straight victory. Thank you very much. After missing a month and a half while rehabbing a groin injury they suffered on Christmas to the Nuggets, Booker went on to score 19 points in 26 minutes, and the Suns went on their 3rd straight victory. His return gave the Suns the lift that was needed and continued to build confidence for a group that had been dealing with injuries to key players throughout the season. Devin's attitude is always just what he wants. To eat, says head coach Monty Williams. Just wants to kill and eat. That's just the type of player that he
For
is.
free, huh?
Yeah, that's how he operates. He's a winner and wants to do everything he can to win the game. Everyone is just excited to have him back. Booker's return almost took a back seat to Nets guard Cam Thomas, who became the second youngest player to score 40 points in 3 straight games, scoring 43 points even though they lost to the Suns. DeAndre Ayton put up some big numbers as well. As well, um, at the time a career high of 35 points and 15 rebounds to go with it. While Booker back in the game, the Suns are confident that they can keep the wins coming at the hand to next week's All-Star break and beyond that. We are happy and not complaining, said Chris Paul, getting Devin back. Okay, as I said, there was history made last night, and there sure enough was. A historic moment in the NBA last night as LeBron James surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record to become the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. It was he buried a 14-foot jumper to put him on top, raising his arms through the ceiling at the Crypto Arena. It was a fadeaway jumper and not a skyhook owed to Jabbar, and not one of his power dunks with 10.9 seconds left in the third quarter, despite a loss to the Thunder. James entered the game with 38,352 points, needing 36 points to break the record. He finished the night with 38 points on 13 for 20 shooting, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. As the game came to a stop to celebrate the record that we thought we'd never see happen, LeBron broke down in tears, of course. James said he felt like he was on top of the world, and of course, why not? He was on top of the world, top of the arena when the shot went in, and a roar from the crowd. I'm not sure if I would ever have that feeling again, unless I made the winning shot in the final. Well, yeah, everything just stopped. It gave him the opportunity to embrace. It looked to around seeing family and friends in a moment that we thought we'd never see. Photographs quickly sighted James around the court as chants of MVP rained down from the crowd, and highlights of his career were shown up on the video board throughout his 20 years. The game was stopped for about 10 minutes while James hugged family members and participated in a brief ceremony with the commissioner Adam Silver in attendance, and Jabbar as well, who stood from the baseline seat at the Lakers bench. The previous record by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar lasted 39 years. I don't know if LeBron's record is going to hold that long because the game has changed since then. Probably not. Okay, moving along here. Buffalo Sabres locked up forward Dylan Cousins for a 7-year deal worth just shy of $50 million. If you want exact numbers, okay, 49.7. Cousins was expected to be a restricted free agent this summer. The Sabres drafted Cousins 7th in the 2019 draft and joined the league in the 2021 season. To this day, he has 34 goals and 94 points altogether. After having his first practice with the Mavericks, guard Kyrie Irving said he felt disrespected by the Nets during his 3+ years in Brooklyn. Oh, really now? You think the Nets disrespected you? How about you disrespecting them? I just know I wanted to be in a place where I'm celebrated and not just tolerated or just dealt in a way where I don't feel respected. Irving said that at practice at Galen Hall at USC. There were times throughout the process in Brooklyn where he said I felt very disrespected of his talent. I work very hard for what I do. No one talks about my work ethic, though everyone talks about what I do away from the floor. So I wanted to challenge that narrative, write my own story, and continue to prepare in the gym. Now I'm at Dallas and just focus on what I can do. The Nets granted Irving's request trade on Sunday that sent him to the Mavericks, along with forward Markieff Morris, in exchange for the return of Spencer Dinwiddie, forward Dorian Finley, and unprotected first round 2029 draft pick. And 2 second-round draft picks. Irving averaged 27.1 points per game, along with 5.8 assists in 143 games, but the focus was more for his off-the-court issues, that instead being the 8-time All-Star. He missed much of the 2021 season for refusing the vaccine, and part of this season for promoting a very controversial book with racial overtones. The Spurs are acquiring center Dwayne Dedmon from the Heat. That, according to reports, the Spurs are also receiving a second-round draft pick from the Heat and will receive cash considerations, according to reports. The move, once it's complete, will have some stable financial flexibility and a roster spot for Miami. Dedmon is averaging 5.7 points per game this season in 30 games. He has only played one game for the Heat since the incident that occurred last month in a game against the Thunder, where he was getting subbed out of the second quarter, argued with players and bench coaches, then swatted a message gun behind the bench. Oh boy. Dedmon was ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct and was later suspended for one game by the Heat. This is the first time that both these teams were involved in a trade together. Well, had to happen sometime. All right. Board of Governors of the NBA have approved the sale of the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury of the WNBA to mortgage lender Matt Ishiba. The league announced that Monday night. The transition was closed yesterday at some point, sources told ESPN. Ishiba was approved as the Suns' new governor by a vote of 29-0. League sources said the Cavaliers were staying away from the vote. The Cavaliers are owned by Dan Gilbert, who runs Rocket Mortgage. Ishiba owns United Wholesale with Mortgage, both of the two largest mortgage lenders in the country, and have a bit of rivalry between them. Well, no kidding. Really 20-member ownership group. There are only 4 minority partners who retain the full stake of the team.
I think your microphone audio is starting to fade away.
Oh, from the team. The rest of the ownership group sold 25% of their shares at the $4 billion valuation, the max allowed under the team's use of the sale. $4 billion. Wow. Ishiba's approval comes as he is scheduled to be introduced. Actually, has already been introduced as early as today, according to sources. Good luck with that one. All right, now that Kyrie has gone to the Mavericks, head coach Jason Kidd, who was in that one time, focused his belief that the pairing of Irving and Luka Doncic cracks open a possible championship window for the Mavericks. Maybe. The Mavericks pounced on the idea to acquire a legitimate partner for Doncic, agreeing to a blockbuster for Irving and for Markieff Morris. That was on Sunday, just 2 days after Irving requested a trade from the Nets, after contract talks fizzled, and they certainly did. The Mavericks starters center Spencer Dinwiddie, who returns to Brooklyn, Dorian Finney-Smith, and the unprotected 2029 first-round pick and the second-round draft picks to Brooklyn, to land Irving without assurances that he would return to the Mavericks next season. So that's the thing there. So will he stay or will he not stay? That's a question you have to ask later. At the time of this report, the Nets were 4th in the Eastern Conference. Former NHL standout and Pittsburgh Penguins player and Rangers player Jaromir Jagr celebrated his 51st birthday a week earlier by setting a new record, sort of, as he scored his 1,099th goal in professional hockey. Jagr scored the goal in the Czech League for the Kalando Knights despite a loss to Shrenik. The winger had the second highest point total in the NHL in 2018, the same year he was released by the Flames. He got his 1,099th goals in international tournaments and professional league games. He scored 2 goals in the game and got an assist from another former NHL player Tomas Palinkic. Yager had 3 goals and 8 assists for the season for Caldo in 19 games. He played for Caldo as a teenager. That was about 100 years ago. Oh boy. And now plays for the team that he now owns. So he at the club now he is owner after he was released by the Calgary Flames. Player and an owner. All right. As discussions for the next labor agreement continue, the NBA and the Player Association are expected or have extended an early opt-out early deadline of today, allowing the league negotiations on a new long-term CBA, sources told ESPN Monday. As both sides push for a labor deal, a significant of what has allowed discussions to progress has been the league's willingness to soften from their original push for an upper spending limit on team payrolls, a de facto hard cap, sources said. The league's 7-year deal expires after next season, but today's deadline, already extended from December, pushes back both sides' ability to opt out of a current deal on June 30th with the possibility of a work stoppage, aka a lockout. If the league or player association opts out the current deal, effective the start of the free agency on that date, the league businesses would shut down, trades and free agent acquisitions would cease without a new agreement in place, and the risk of losing regular season games that would begin in October. I pray it doesn't come to that. Ugh. All right, and we have trades that are going, of course, and the trade deadline is 3 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be keeping an eye on that. All right, let's see what else we got here. We'll check. Yeah, we'll check some other news here. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes said that his right ankle is in a better spot than it was in the AFC Championship game. The All-Pro quarterback does not expect to be in limited action as the Chiefs take on the Eagles in Sunday's Super Bowl. Mahomes said before the practice at the ASU facility he is still receiving treatment on the ankle that he hurt in the divisional playoff game against the Jaguars, and probably will so right up until around kickoff time. Mahomes injured his ankle when a Jaguars pass rusher landed on it in the first quarter. X-rays were negative, and he went back into the game as the Chiefs won 27-20. Although not a very smart idea, but it worked. Since injuring his UCL in his right elbow in the NFC title game, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy has spent the last week and a half exploring every possible option to return to full strength. Today, Purdy announced that not only he decided on a surgical option, but now has a date set for that procedure. Sources told ESPN today that Purdy will undergo a repair on his elbow on the 22nd of this month, 2 weeks from today, and will have a time recovery of 6 months. But if you think he's done, no. Given that time, Purdy might be able to return by the time training camp rolls around in July. Purdy had been seeking multiple options for the best method to get his elbow back in full strength. He had also been waiting for the swelling to go down before making a decision. The news of Purdy electing to have surgery on the 22nd was reported by none other than the NFL Network. NFL Hall of Famer wide receiver Michael Irvin will not fill his role as NFL analyst of Sunday's Super Bowl after a woman filed a complaint about his conduct during an encounter at a Glendale, Arizona hotel, near the site of Sunday's Super Bowl. NFL media said that Irvin will not be a part of the NFL Network's coverage without specifying the details of the woman's complaint over an alleged incident on Sunday. Irving denied any wrongdoing. He told the Dallas Morning News, saying that his interaction took place at the hotel lobby, which only lasted less than a minute. Irving said he was baffled by the allegation, This all happened in a matter of 45 seconds. What can you possibly do in 45 seconds? When I got back from going out, I came into the lobby. I started talking to the woman. I did not know her. I spoke to her about 45 seconds, shook hands, and left. He told Dallas sports station The Fan this morning he did not remember the interaction after a few drinks. A Glensdale spokesperson told the Dallas Morning News that he had no knowledge of the incident with Urban. And for those old to remember, he won 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. He was inducted into the Pro Hall of Fame in 2007 and has been an analyst for the NFL Network in 2009. Sounds a bit peculiar because what damage can you do in 45 seconds, especially something you don't even know? Something doesn't sound right here. Okay. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa finally cleared concussion protocol after being placed in a month ago. NFL Network first reported the news. He was diagnosed with a second concussion of the season after being hit in the head on a Christmas Day game lost to the Packers. The next day, he was placed in concussion protocol and missed the last 3 games of the season. He was selected as first alternate for last Sunday's Pro Bowl game, but was not available to play because he was cleared from the protocol too late. The third-year quarterback had a career year, highs in completion percentage, passing yards, and a resurgent season. He did miss 6 weeks, though, due to concussions in Week 4 and Week 16. As I mentioned before, the NFL and the Players Association launched joint reviews on how his head injuries were handled this season. The first resulted in the termination of a neurosurgical consultant who cleared him to play after hitting his head in Week 3 and stumbled shortly after. Yeah, not a smart move, stupid. Yeah. The league altered the concussion program as a result of the review. You let him back in when you know he was in pain. Yeah, real smart.
Sickening.
Some things just don't add up. And that was one of them. Right, moving along. All right. Raiders quarterback Derek Carr said during what is likely his last appearance at the Raiders facility, said he had no intention of extending trigger date of February 15th to give additional time to resolve the situation. Speaking at the Pro Bowl skills competition, Carr said he would not agree to amend the date, which is by more 40 million guarantees kick in, that increases the likelihood of his release from the Raiders. Carr maintained that he and his representatives would still like to be authorized to speak to potential trade partners, but the Raiders have not guaranteed that permission yet. Well, they didn't at the time of this report, but they have now granted permission. So looks like he's going to be out. He should be out by then. Moving along. Okay. Jimmy Garoppolo has had a rough 5 years as the 49ers quarterback, though trade reports and injuries have found their way back to each other. Now the 49ers head off to another offseason with uncertainty in the quarterback department. Head coach Kyle Shanahan made it clear that Jimmy G's time in San Francisco is over. When asked if there was any chance of the G-Man returning, Shanahan was mum on the whole idea. Unlike last year when he was under contract and the Niners attempting to trade him, they had no such urgency this time around. Garoppolo is expected to be an unrestricted free agent in March, and the 49ers can not use him as a tag to retain his rights. Shanahan said the Niners, with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance as their two quarterbacks, are under contract next season, something Shanahan said he would be content with heading into next season. The first order of business for Brock Purdy to recover from his UCL injury in his elbow. He underwent imaging back on January 31st and did not make a decision to have surgery at the time or use an internal brace procedure. The repair would be good news and a short recovery time and would be ready by the time training camp starts in July. Luckily, now that has been taken care of. The Yankees had agreed to reach a deal with Gilbert Torres 1 year for $9.95 million. That avoids an arbitration hearing with the star infielder by reaching a deal. Thank goodness. At midpoint of the pro process salaries, the Yankees announced the deal back on January 29th. He batted .257 with 24 home runs and 76 RBIs and won the AL East last season. Torres asked for a raise of $10.2 million, up from the $6.25 million the Yankees offered to the second baseman. Torres was the last Yankee player in the arbitration hearings. All right. Oops. So continue on here. All right, going back here. Going back. All right, the NBA said they investigated a post-game incident after a home game with the Grizzlies, taking in the Pacers on January 28th, and banned some fans from attending the home arena. The Athletic reported that some acquaintances of the Grizzlies, Ja Morant, confronted members of the Pacers traveling party near the bus at the FedEx Forum docking arena after the Grizzlies won that night. More to come here. Right. The Athletic reported a laser coming from an SUV that reported Morant was riding and was pointed towards the Pacers players and others in the loading arena. The Athletic reported that it was not known who shined the laser when someone feared like it was attached to a gun. NBA security conducted the investigation, interviewing witnesses and reviewing video surveillance following allegations made by the Pacers organization regarding the post-game incident, the league said in a statement. Very scary situation there. While we sustained that the post-game situation that was confrontational based on interviews and other evidence gathered, we could not corroborate that there was any individuals threatened others with a weapon. Morant tweeted a few days ago that a friend of his was banned from the arena for a year during the January 29th game. And they were bargaining between the Pacers players and friends of Morant seated along the sideline. The NBA conducted a full investigation, and we fully complied with it. Fully complied, huh? Yeah, okay.
Gotta prove
it. Yeah. Or as the old saying goes, put your money where your mouth is. As we used to say back in the day. The Washington Capitals signed winger Sonny Milano to a 3-year extension deal worth $5.7 million. General Manager Brian McKellen announced the contract back on Sunday, adding to an already busy All-Star break before taking care of any future business. The Capitals also extended forward Dylan Strome to a 5-year deal worth $25 million. Milano was 8 goals and 16 assists in 40 games since being called up from the AHL and is locked in with the Capitals through the 25-26 season. My co-host will be happy about that.
I'll bet.
Yeah. All right. In the wake of Friday's basket brawl game, as I call it, between the Wolves and the Magic, the NBA suspended Mo Bamba of the Magic for 4 games and Austin Rivers of the Wolves for 3 games for their roles in the altercation last Friday. The league also suspended Jalen Suggs for 1 game for his involvement in the altercation. The league announced suspensions earlier this week and will cost Bama over $284,000 salary, Rivers $60,000, and Suggs over $47,700, give or take a few. Wolves forward Jalen McDaniels was fined $20,000 for getting involved in the altercation. Bama, Rivers, Suggs, McDaniels were all ejected, as well as Taurean Prince for his involvement. The league, however, did not give Prince any additional sanctions. Yeah, let him off easy. Yeah, that's what he did. All right. Stephen Curry is expected to be out through at least the All-Star break with a leg injury. The Warriors are expected to have a better understanding for his timeline for a return in the coming days. Curry injured his leg late in the third quarter in a game on Sunday night with the win over the Mavericks after his knee collided with McKinley Wright, that's right with the W, of the Mavericks, as Curry was trying to defend him. Well, so much for that. Yes. Moving along. Okay. At the NHL All-Star Game, Red Wings forward Dylan Larkin scored the hat trick, and the Maple Leafs winger Mitch Marner had 3 assists to give the Atlantic a 7-5 victory over the Central. MVP Matthew Tkachuk played alongside brother Randy of the Senators, who had 7 points on the day, after a 5-point outburst in the semifinal win over the Metro. Larkin had 5 goals in 2 games. Oh boy. We wanted to get the win for the home fans. Well, of course you did. Said Montreal captain Nick Suzuki. They did a good job of cheering for us. We just want to give them a good performance. Coyotes forward Clayton Keller, Stars winger Jason Robertson, and the Avalanche Big Three, Cale Maker, Nate McKinson, and Mikko Rantanen all scored in the final for the Central Division. This was the first win for the Atlantic in 6 tries since the All-Star Game changed the format. Back when it was East and West. Right. And while we're on that, although we just finished up this year's All-Star Game, they've already announced next year's NHL All-Star Game in Toronto. Commissioner Gary Bettman made the announcement just prior to the start of the game. Leafs president and former Red Wings great Brendan Shanahan. Oh yeah.
Yes, my man.
Yes, you can't forget him, Brendan Shanahan. And
he was a hell of a goal scorer, I tell you, especially from sharp angle shots.
Yes, I remember that very well.
So damn good.
Yep.
I even wore his jersey number 14 in all my high school years while playing baseball for the Lake City Trojans.
Wow.
I even considered it my lucky number.
Okay, for those of you who have one. Leafs president, okay. Current Leafs forward Mitch Marner, representing the team and the proceedings, out to promote Toronto's future involvement. This will be Toronto's 9th time as host of the All-Star Game and the first since 2000. Larry Wade, son of former NBA star Dwayne Wade, has signed a deal with the Cape Town Tigers of the African Basketball League. Wade averaged 4.6 points and 1.9 assists in 13 games for the Salt Lake City Stars the G League version of the Jazz. Wade is expected to join the Tigers for the start of the season in Africa. The BAL consists of 12 teams playing a 38-game schedule season in Dakar, Senegal, Cairo, Egypt, and Rwanda over a 3-month period. Cape Town play in the Nile Conference during a 15-day span from April 26th to May 6th. The top 4 teams from both conferences will advance to an 8-game playoff of single elimination from May 27th to May 21st to May 27th. Okay. Now for the scary story here of the week here. Oh boy. A caddy from an amateur golfer collapsed at the AT&T Pro-Am tournament back on Saturday and required CPR before being taken to a nearby hospital. Play was stopped at the 11th hole for nearly an hour as the caddy for a Pebble Beach businessman named Jeff Couch was attended for an extended period of time after the caddy collapsed on the fairway. PGA Tour Chief Gary Young says spectator performed CPR, and an officer from the Cal Fire Department took over from there. The playing group included country singer Lucas Nelson and pros Ben Hostler and Max McGreevy, who appeared to be shaken up after witnessing the incident. Well, who wouldn't be? Couch left the playing group shortly after the ambulance arrived. The players and caddies were around hugging each other as they heard the news. ESPN and the Golf Channel reported that caddy's name was not identified. It is expected, though, to make a full recovery. That's the good news about that. Incidentally, Buffalo Sabres owner Kim Pegula also had an incident, too, that happened. She suffered, I think, a cardiac arrest a while back and just went public with it yesterday. That's said by her daughter. So that was another scary incident. There's been a lot of stuff with cardiac arrest lately in people. It's a very scary very scary times have been happening in the sports world lately. It's first, you have the Buffaloes Bill safety they had, and now it's happening in the golf world.
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin, and now it's happening in other areas. A caddy and the owner of the Sabres and Bills. So it's very scary times around the sports world lately.
Yeah, at least Damar Hamlin is feeling a lot better, and I've been hearing rumors that he might return to play.
It's possible, but if I were him, I don't know if I would do it. Because who knows if I know, but who knows if it might happen again, and we won't want to see that. So that's the thing, just to think about. Okay.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up. So I'll just turn back over to you.
All right, so that was True Sports episode 36. Everybody comment who you think will win Super Bowl 57, Eagles or Chiefs. Again, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes close to 100%. So again, like we explained in our in the beginning of this installment of True Sports, it might be it's possibly going to be an offensive slugfest. I still think the Eagles will win in a close one.
It should be a very close game. I'm going though with the Chiefs though in a close one.
All right. So with that being said,
6 points.
6 points, okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go 48-44 Eagles.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're
That's
really
an
talking
offensive
about
slugfest.
That is. Wow.
Yeah. So, with that being said, we'll probably talk Sunday night at 10:30.
All right.
Yep, and then we'll do a Super Bowl post game.
Yeah, why not? This will be good.
Yep. Check that Sunday at 11.
Okay.
True Sports episode 37. Till then, I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. Ta-ta for now. Hit him with a hind. Power to the people.
Happy Super Bowl.